Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so obviously this is a channel where we expose the hypocrisy of the left, and this one, this has got to be probably the biggest hypocrisy. You know, you've got the left leading protest movements like #MeToo, where they advocate for the safety of women. But time and time again, it seems as though the Democratic elite, the Hollywood elite, the face of the left, are always the ones turning a blind eye to this exact kind of evil. And this P. Diddy situation once again highlights that even further. You know, all these societal plagues that the left seems to be advocating against seems to always be happening in their backyard. And we've got a Hollywood elite here, one of the Baldwin brothers, Daniel Baldwin, dropping what I'd say is pretty much a bombshell regarding this Diddy situation. Let me show you what this guy said on Patrick Bet-David's podcast, and then of course let me chime in. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so everyone knows what's going on here. Just take a look at this clip.
Look at Diddy, for instance. Let's take a look at him. Let's take a look at, he has videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much, but what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now. They're driving that price up because if you want your client and your famous actor to not be involved, or famous singer to not come out, here's the price. And that they're just selling to the individuals that are in those, this is what I heard. They're selling those videos. So if you're Tommy X, and Tommy X is a big movie star, and he was at some of the Diddy parties, he was in one of those bedrooms with 3 other men, and he's happily married to a woman, and blah. Tommy doesn't want that video to come out. He does not want it to come out. Same thing for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the interesting thing about the Epstein and the theory about Epstein is we know he filmed people for sure on that island. He has a lot of movies, a lot of films of people that are very powerful political figures, and entertainers, business people. So, do you really believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? Of
course not.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's other theories that he's in Lebanon. He never died at all. That having the weight of owning those films right now over people. So will Donald Trump release those films? I believe Donald Trump probably has a lot of friends that are in those videos too. I don't know if it behooves him to release them either. But what happens if iconic African Americans or iconic Japanese Americans or iconic Anglo Americans, former presidents, so what happens if they're in those videos? What does that do to the herding of the sheep? Because I believe that's exactly what we're experiencing.
Apparently there's videos of the parties, and Daniel Baldwin has heard of friends that are attorneys claiming there's a bidding war going on right now. Essentially, they're trying to bid on the tapes, I guess, to stop them from ever going public. And it seems to me like a striking resemblance of what we saw with Jeffrey Epstein and his supposed client list. And just let it all sink in for a moment. We're talking about actual behind-the-scenes bidding wars to bury evidence of who knows what kind of despicable, disgusting behavior these elite party people are engaging in. You know, the same exact people that are constantly lecturing us on how deplorable and awful we are. You know, we're not just talking about a scandal here. This is pure, unfiltered evil. And it seems in a way in certain circles it's happening in the open. That's, I'd say, what's probably the most chilling. And what really gets me is the elite left's seemingly cozy relationship with so many of these individuals. Let's not forget, Diddy wasn't just some celebrity living his life out of the spotlight. No, not too long ago, this guy was front and center running huge voter initiatives for the Democrats.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
We applaud you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating. I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool, and I want to apologize. I ain't trying to make you look bad or nothing like that, but I'm just so cool. We
T-shirt. I tell you, if he was wearing one of those fancy designer clothes he's designing, he'd be sweating just like me.
And I wanted you to speak. You're one of the few politicians that young people relate to. And we wanted to just hear the message on why you feel it's important for them to vote this year. Young people that, and please talk to the people that are disenfranchised, that don't believe in the power of their vote.
This is a direct impact on their lives, and I believe your slogan, vote or die, is accurate.
He was out there playing the role of the righteous activist for the Democrat establishment, telling everybody to, quote, vote or die. Another one of the DNC's celebrity pawns. But of course, it seems like the whole time behind the scenes, well, there was some pretty grim stuff happening. And now there's this swirling mess of allegations that would make your skin crawl. And the craziest part is it feels like clockwork. Every time you turn around, there's another scandal exposing the rot in these elite circles. And of course, the common denominator is the left or the leftist establishment that keeps propping up these exact people. They embrace them, work with them, take their money, and treat them like moral authorities. Even put them in positions to lecture you, the regular people. And a couple times it happening here and there. Whatever, we're talking about isolated situations, but it doesn't feel like that in this case. It feels like almost as we're being lectured by these big media elite types, they're engaging in all of these nefarious behaviors, and those partnering with them seem to know and they just turn a blind eye. It feels like it becomes an open secret. It felt like the Jeffrey Epstein open secret went on for 20 years. I mean, he was arrested, back in 2001, if I'm not mistaken, and yet so many of these elites still associated with him up until the moment that he was arrested. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, and now Diddy. It's the same pattern each and every single time. You got these monsters who seem to operate in plain sight, doing unspeakable things, and the left just turns a blind eye. Why? Well, because these people are useful. They fund campaigns, they push narratives, they get out the vote, and as long as they're useful, the left doesn't care whatever's lurking behind the curtain. And what's crazy to me, and where the worst hypocrisy lies, is that as they're partnering with people who are engaging in these kinds of behaviors, as they're turning a blind eye to these types of behaviors, they're also funding initiatives and activist movements that are supposedly battling those exact types of behavior. It's absolutely crazy. It's almost maddening. Let's call it selective outrage. It's all I see. They'll spend years talking about Trump and all of his supposed evils. They'll plaster his name across every freaking headline. They'll turn any accusation from any anonymous source or any, person looking to make a quick buck into a damning headline, a national crisis. They'll demand endless investigations. But meanwhile, you've got people out here like Diddy and others allegedly involved in something so sinister, it sounds like it belongs in a Hollywood movie plot. And what do you get? You get crickets, silence, no hashtags, no slogans, no marches, nothing. These people won't shut up about people like Daniel Penny or Kyle Rittenhouse. Even still going on to this day, demonizing people who objectively, at least in my view, did heroic things. Ordinary people put in extraordinary situations who ended up doing what was right. The left will drag those people through the mud. They'll vilify a kid defending himself or a veteran trying to protect other people on a subway. They'll vilify a kid in a MAGA hat getting accosted by a professional activist, the Covington kids, of course. But when it comes to people who are engaging in despicable evil, and it seems like it's an open secret that everybody kind of accepts, at least their side seems to accept, their people seem to accept. Yeah, with those people, they'll roll out the red carpet. Those crazy conservative people who want small government and don't like abortion, they're the absolute worst and should be shunned from society. But Hollywood celebrity Cardi B, who has a past of drugging men and stealing from them, robbing unsuspecting victims, yeah, she's a hero and a champion for democracy. I mean, give me a freaking break. The left has been fully exposed, the hypocrisy, the corruption, the outright allowing of this evil to fester. They've simply lost credibility. They've lost the ability to lecture us, as they've just been associated too many times. And obviously, well, that's not a very good look now, is it? I guess that's the beauty of living in a society that's built on fundamental freedoms. Eventually, the truth has a way of shining through. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.